Lakers are absolutely on fire. An avalanche here from the Lakers in Game 1, dominating.
This was a complete performance by the Lakers.
Yes, it was. Lakers strike first 116-98 over the Heat in Game 1. It was the usual suspects. Seventh game this postseason that LeBron James and Anthony Davis each scored 25 points and shot 50% from the floor. That's the most by any pair of teammates in a single postseason in NBA history. The last duo to do it at even 5 games was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen in 1992. For more, let's welcome in Stephen A. Smith, who's going to be with us here in studio throughout the NBA Finals. So, Steve, it's hard not to overreact to a game like this, but how much trouble are the Miami Heat in right now?
Oh, they're in a world of trouble. They're on the verge of getting swept if they don't get their act together. The level of domination that you saw from the Los Angeles Lakers tonight should tell you a story. Miami goes on a 13-0 run, jumps out to a 23-10 lead, and then the next thing you know, they end up getting outscored like 55-25, and at one point they were outscored by 40 over the course of 2.5 quarters. That is an annihilation. That is a butt whipping. It almost looks like it was a nice run. We applaud you for your efforts, but it ends now. That's the kind of beatdown they got tonight. I'll give them an opportunity in Game 2 to make amends, but I can assure you that I speak for a lot of people in America when we say we're fearful that a sweep is imminent. We hope not, because we like competition, but we're fearful.
I mean, when you look at the teams on paper, the Lakers are the more talented team.
Yeah.
What else did you see that accounted for the domination in this?
Their bench scoring, their bench production, obviously Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Danny Green, Alex Caruso, all of these guys, they were hitting open shots. You got to give credit where credit is due. But the level of domination that Anthony Davis put on display, he dropped 34 and 9. He can score when he wants, whenever he wants. Bam Adebayo, Jay Crowder, it doesn't matter who you put on him. They don't have the horses to compete with Anthony Davis. He comes to play. There is no answer for him. We know that LeBron James is the best player in the world. But when you've got Anthony Davis as your proverbial sidekick per se, and Miami has no answer for that. What can you do? Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero had about 14 tonight. So Eric Spoelstra's got his work cut out for him because, again, this was a butt whipping.
A lot of issues for Miami. They got a lot to figure out before Game 2. We will see you after Game 2 right here on SportsCenter.
Yeah, you will. I hope that we're in better spirits and we have something far more interesting to talk about than was given to us to talk about tonight. But I fear that might not be the case. I'm just saying.
Stephen A. Smith with us on SportsCenter.
That's how he rolls. Bam Adebayo. Shoulder injury right there, a shoulder strain. He would leave the game. The other hurt was being put on the scoreboard. The Lakers were up 65-48 at the half, 93-67 after 3. Anthony Davis, 34 points, 9 rebounds, yelling it's over after that. LeBron James, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists. The final 116-98. It was not that close. LeBron James as the Lakers take Game 1.
They smacked us in the mouth, and we got a sense of that. And so we knew how hard we had to play if we wanted to try to make it a game. And, from that moment when it was 23-10, we started to play to our capabilities. We started flying around. We started getting defensive stops in. We started sharing the ball a lot better offensively and just got into a really good groove.
Feels good to get the first game. We're not satisfied. We don't like how we ended the game. That wasn't a championship mentality, and we have to be better in that regard. But we'll take the win, but we'll watch film and try to get Game 2 as well.
We talk about how damn near perfect that we have to play, and that was nowhere near it. There's nothing to be said. We can watch all the film in the world. We understand, we know what we did not do. What we talked about we were going to do, we didn't do. We didn't rebound. We didn't make them miss any shots. We didn't get back. All of those things led to the deficit that we put ourselves in.
All right, you talked about LeBron James, or you heard LeBron James say, hey, we got punched in the mouth when we were down 13. 18-point win was the second largest by any team in the finals following a double-digit deficit over the last 50 seasons. And again, final score not indicative of what a blowout this game was. Lakers the only team to take a 30-point lead in the finals after a 10-point deficit in that same span. As for those Heat injuries we touched on, Malik Andrews on line 1.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals was an injury-ridden night for the Miami Heat, but let's start with Goran Dragic. He was driving against Rajon Rondo in the second quarter when he landed a little bit awkwardly on his left foot, and later Adrian Wojnarowski reported that he suffered a torn plantar in that foot, but that wasn't the last injury of the night. Bam Adebayo in the third quarter suffered a shoulder strain, and he got an x-ray, but the Miami Heat said that it came back negative. And Jimmy Butler tweaked his ankle just a little bit during that game, and afterwards he said it was sore, but he'd be okay. And he said that the Heat have no choice. With or without Goran Dragic, they will go out and compete. They are capable of it, and he said they have to be capable of it.
Bring in Tim Legler. And Tim, you look at the injuries and you look at Game 1, and now you look at the series and you see what?
Well, I see a team in Miami that already got hit with a gut punch tonight, and I see a team now that doesn't have the depth to withstand anybody out of the top of their rotation being out. And I'm worried about Goran Dragic because when it happened, he had that reaction as if he thought he got kicked or he stepped on something. That's very typical when you have that kind of an injury. I suffered a torn plantar fascia in 1995 in training camp. I missed about 3 weeks with that injury before I was able to get back on the court. So I don't know the severity of his tear. I think the other guys are going to be okay. Jimmy Butler obviously finished the game, and as far as Bam Adebayo, he's going to be out there playing because it's not a lower body injury. I just think it's going to be very difficult without a guy like Dragic playing the best basketball, I believe, of his entire career if he has to miss the rest of this series.
All right, while we're on the subject of things you're familiar with, the Lakers are 11 for 17 shooting the three in the first half. Very Legler-like. They were 4 for 21 in the second half shooting the three. Un-Legler-like. Where are the Lakers when it comes to shooting the three?
Well, Eric Spoelstra better hope it's more like the second half. I can tell you that, Neil. But here's the thing. It's somewhere in the middle, and going into this series, you had to realize you're going to give up something to the Lakers, and it's going to be the three-point shot. Problem is, when they move the ball the way they did and they operate with smart cuts and smart post play, they're going to get better looks, and they're going to be a better shooting team. Here's an example. You throw it into AD in a post, double team comes, great cut by Rondo, draws that top defender. Now it's a matter of moving the ball. Iguodala closes out hard. Nice job by Kuzma to recognize it, puts it on the deck, and now you force another defender to come help, and it leaves KCP wide open in the corner. If he's going to take a shot with that kind of balance and time, he's going to be a better shooter. Another example, pick and roll, get the ball to the middle. Rondo forces the backline defender, in this case Dragic, to step up, and now you've got one guy on the weak side to play two. Great ball movement. You get it over to the corner. And again, Alex Caruso, not a great three-point shooter, but when he's got that much time and he's on balance, he's going to become a higher percentage shooter. Now, this one hurts because you do the right thing defensively. You get 4 guys back to wall up LeBron in transition. This is the primary focus defensively. On the kick out, if you're Solomon Hill, you're going to give Rondo this kind of room. You're going to say, go ahead. Can you make that shot? Rondo did. And again, feet set on balance all the time in the world. When they're taking looks like that, Neil, their percentages are better than they indicate in the regular season. That's what they did to him in the first half. You're not going to be able to take away everything, particularly with what LeBron and AD do to you in the paint. So the strategy against this team has to be force three-point shots. They did it in the first half, and the Lakers buried them and got all the separation they needed in the second quarter. Eric Spoelstra has to continue to roll those dice that is the shot that the Lakers are going to miss enough to give the Miami Heat a chance to win this series.
Game 2 Friday, Tim Legler. Nothing but net. What if I told you that Stephen A. Smith is in the house? Not on Zoom, not on Skype, not in Bristol. He's in Los Angeles. He'll be with us on this set later on SportsCenter with his take on the Lakers Heat.